Hello, and welcome to the recording for Committee-Driven Process Design, Automating Client Address Changes with Smart Process Builder. In our previous vignette, we showed you how to create a simple process using conversational language in Smart Process Builder. Today, we'll demonstrate a more sophisticated approach for complex business workflows that require detailed planning, compliance considerations, and multiple stakeholders. At Athens Wealth Management, we've been handling client address changes manually, and it's causing serious operational and compliance issues. Just last month, we experienced 3 major problems. A client moved from California to Texas, but our compliance team never got notified of their jurisdiction change, leading to incorrect tax withholdings and costly regulatory filing errors. Second, we've updated a client's address in our CRM but forgot to notify their custodian, so important account statements were sent to the wrong address for several months. Finally, one of our high net worth clients had their address change take several weeks because tasks were sitting in different people's inboxes with no clear ownership or deadlines. These aren't simple workflow issues. They involve regulatory compliance, multiple systems, external notifications, and cross-departmental coordination. This type of complex process requires a more structured approach to the Smart Process Builder. As the technical administrator, I've met with a committee that includes colleagues from compliance, management, and our advisor team. Together, we've mapped out exactly what needs to happen at each stage, who should be responsible for each task, and what outcomes and contingencies we need to plan for. This collaborative approach ensures we capture all regulatory requirements, business rules, and edge cases before we build our process. Let's see how this structured planning translates into a sophisticated Smart Process Builder workflow. Unlike our simple conversational example, this time we'll enter a comprehensive structured prompt that our committee has carefully crafted. This detailed approach gives the Smart Process Builder much more specific information to work with, resulting in a more sophisticated automated workflow. Here's our detailed prompt, developed through our committee planning process. We'll paste in the complete structured requirements. Process goal: create a client change of address process to ensure accurate client data management, maintain regulatory compliance, and provide efficient service when clients relocate. Our prompt includes clearly defined stages: not started, in progress, completed, and canceled. Each stage serves a specific purpose in tracking the process lifecycle. We've outlined 4 detailed tasks: capture and verify client request, complete compliance and validation review, execute system updates and external notifications, and generate client confirmation and follow-up. Each task includes specific requirements, documentation needs, and regulatory considerations. The prompt also specifies multiple outcomes, including process completion, international move follow-up, tax planning reviews, and process cancellation scenarios. We've included success criteria requiring 100% address change confirmation within 48 hours and 95% client satisfaction on follow-up calls. Finally, we've defined assignment rules routing specific tasks to appropriate team members, client service representatives, compliance officers, and operations specialists. Let's submit this comprehensive prompt and see how the Smart Process Builder handles this complex workflow. The AI is now analyzing our detailed requirements and building a sophisticated process structure. Because we provided much more specific information than in our simple example, this will take a moment longer to process. Look at how different this process preview appears compared to our simple meeting follow-up example. Because we've provided detailed task specifications, outcomes, and assignment rules, the Smart Process Builder has created a sophisticated workflow with visual decision points and multiple pathways. Notice the process starts in the Not Started stage at the top, clearly marked with dotted boundaries. The first task, Capture and Verify Client Request, is followed immediately by a diamond-shaped decision point asking, "Is request valid?" This visual element shows how the AI understood our prompt validation requirements. If the request is invalid, perhaps the client provided incorrect documentation or failed identity verification, the process flows directly to the red canceled state on the right-hand side. This prevents wasted effort on invalid requests. For valid requests, the process moves into the blue, in progress stage area. Here we see the second task, complete compliance and validation review. This task includes regulatory validation requirements, jurisdiction change considerations, and compliance checks for international moves. After the compliance review, notice another diamond-shaped decision point labeled Compliance Outcome. This creates multiple pathways based on the review results. If there's a compliance failure, the process moves directly to canceled. However, if there is an international move, the system creates an additional compliance pathway while keeping the process active. For standard domestic moves that pass compliance, the process flows to execute system updates and internal notifications, then to generate client confirmation and follow-up, and finally to the green completed state. This visual representation shows how the Smart Process Builder translated our detailed prompt into intelligent branching logic. The dotted stage boundaries help users understand exactly where the process stands at any point. The colored end states, green for completed, red for canceled, provide immediate visual feedback on outcomes. The diamond decision points aren't just visual elements, they represent actual business logic that routes work based on real conditions. This ensures our process adapts automatically to different scenarios while maintaining compliance and operational efficiencies. The suggestions panel still provides writing tips, industry expertise, and process recreation prompts. But because our committee did thorough planning, we likely need fewer refinements than in the simple example. However, you can still use the Refine Your Prompt feature if you identify areas for improvement. Let's save and finish our complex process. Click Open Process to see the sophisticated workflow structure we've created. The process summary shows our comprehensive goal statement, and the task lists display all 4 tasks with their detailed requirements. Click on the first task, Capture and Verify Client Request, to see its detailed configuration. Notice it has an order of 1, normal priority, and shows 3 distinct pathways in the action section: set stage to in progress, proceed to compliance review for valid request, and cancel process for invalid request. This demonstrates how the system created branching logic automatically from our validation requirements. The second task, Complete Compliance and Validation Review, has a high priority and order of 2. Its action section shows 4 different outcomes: maintain in progress stage for past compliance, create additional compliance tasks for international moves, launch tax planning consultation for state changes, and cancel process for compliance failure. This shows how the Smart Process Builder translated our regulatory requirements into actionable workflow logic. The remaining tasks handle system updates within 24-hour timelines and client confirmation, ultimately setting the stage to completed. Each task's outcome conditions correspond directly to the decision point in our visual workflow, demonstrating how the Smart Process Builder converts structured prompts into both visual representation and functional business logic. Before deploying this complex process, it's crucial to test thoroughly. The process settings show that the process starts as not visible, which is perfect for internal testing. Our committee should run through several scenarios: domestic moves, international relocations, and canceled situations, to ensure the process works correctly for all cases. Once testing confirms the process handles all of our identified scenarios properly, we can change the visibility setting to make it available to the team. This complex example demonstrates how the Smart Process Builder scales from simple conversational workflows to sophisticated business processes with regulatory requirements, conditional logic, and multi-departmental coordination. The key to success with complex processes is thorough upfront planning. By working with stakeholders across compliance, operations, and client services, we've identified all requirements, edge cases, and regulatory considerations before building the process. This collaborative approach ensures the automated workflow truly serves the business needs and maintains compliance standards. Start with simple processes to build familiarity, then graduate to complex workflows like this address change process as your team becomes comfortable with the tool. The Smart Process Builder adapts to your level of detail, from conversational descriptions to comprehensive technical specifications. You've reached the end of the recording for the Committee-Driven Process Design Automating Client Address Changes with Smart Process Builder vignette video. If you have any questions about creating complex processes or need guidance on committee planning approaches, please reach out to your CSM or our Practify support team. To learn more about advanced Smart Process Builder capabilities and other Practify features, feel free to explore our additional training videos. Thanks for joining us today.